Hi, this is Jessie Silverman here from Big Blue Canopy to go over some ideas for working on speech and language activities within the environment. So, speech and language activities are all around us. You can work on different activities across all environments. And being realistic, I know that a lot of times parents or caregivers may not be able to actually sit down to work on the home program exercises. So I try to give ideas and suggestions to work on them out in various activities in the community or in the environment. So like drive while driving or outside while they're playing. So here are a few ideas on how to work on those skills within the environment. In the car, you can work on a lot of different activities while you're driving. You can work on color identification or labeling while looking at the other vehicles. Like, oh, let's find a red car, or what color is that car? So it will help increase those color identification and labeling skills. You can describe the different vehicles, so the parts of the car or the color, the size, the function, like the truck is bigger than a car, the truck has wheels, the bus has more wheels than a car. And you can also work on comparing and contrasting the different vehicles. So what makes a bus different from a car? Oh, well, the bus is bigger, the bus is longer. Um, or you can work on articulation targets while you're driving. So like playing games like I Spy, and you can use the specific sound that they're working on, like I spy something that starts with an L. Oh, it's the light. I spy a light, where they have to mark that target. Or the S sound is really good to work on that because the carrier phrase has two S's. I spy something. You can also play games like the alphabet game. So like naming different things that start with letters of the alphabet. This will increase phonemic awareness skills as well as naming items and categories. So if I have the letter A, apple, now my brother has B, banana, mom has C, corn. So it'll help with those phonemic awareness skills and categorization. You can also work on labeling some ing verbs while you're driving. So like talking about what you're doing in the car or what you see people doing. Like I see the man running, or we are driving. Now I'm turning. Now I'm parking. I'm stopping at the red light. And you can also play games like following directions while in the car. Like first touch the window, then wave to the cars outside, or first give your brother a high five, then point to the light. So you can work on some of those multi-step directions too while you're driving. At the park, you can work on a lot of different activities as well. You can do some of those multi-step directions outside at the park too, like make like an obstacle course type activity. First go down the slide, then walk under the bridge. And you can also embed some of those like spatial concepts like on top, under, next to, behind. You can work on pronouns, like if you're describing the other kids at the park, like working on those masculine and feminine pronouns. Like he is sliding or she is sliding, that is his bike, that is her bike. So just differentiating between the different pronouns. You can also work on a variety of verbs. So like talking about what other people are doing, like, look, he is sliding, she is swinging. Or you can also work on those past tense verbs like, oh, what did you just do? I jumped. Or, oh, what did you just do? I stepped down. Or those are regular verbs like I went down the slide. I ran away. And then you can also work on those articulation targets, like if your child is working on a specific sound, like if you can find different things that start with the target, like, oh, tell me something about the slide if they're working on the S sound. Those spatial concepts, like I said before, you can work on those in the multi-step directions, but you can also just work on them specifically, like, okay, we're gonna go under the slide. Look, this is under, just to increase that awareness of those different spatial concepts. Now we're gonna go behind the slide. Now we're gonna go in front. Now we're gonna go on top. Now let's stand next to the slide. So just increasing that awareness of the spatial concepts. And then you can also work on describing the functions of the various playground equipment. So like, what do we do with a ladder? Oh, we climb up a ladder. Or what do we do with steps? We walk down the steps to get to the ground. And then you can also prompt a variety of those open-ended WH questions while you're playing. So like the what, where, who, when, why questions. Like, where is the swing? Why do we climb a ladder? What do we sit on? So those are all fun things to work on too while you're outside playing. And then playing outside, like just in your yard, if you're not at a playground or park. I've mentioned this in a lot of my presentations. Bubbles are a fun activity. When outdoors, they can facilitate requesting, like kids are very motivated by bubbles. So getting those single words like bubbles, or 2 words, bubbles please, or 3-word phrases, more bubbles please, or a sentence, I want more bubbles please. And they also help, I've mentioned this in a lot of my presentations too, help with the WH sounds and those rounded vowel sounds. So like the oohs and the ohs. So if your child's doing like flat lips, just try to facilitate like with your fingertips so they get that more rounded sound. You can also have a scavenger hunt where your child has to find items that are a specific color or that have a specific function, like around the yard or in your garage, like find something we can ride on or show me something that's yellow. This will help with the identification and labeling of colors, as well as understanding object function. You can create fun obstacle courses in your driveway or in your yard to increase their understanding of multi-step directions. So like first run down the driveway, then clap your hands, then jump 2 times, then give me a high five. You can also play Simon Says while presenting various verbs and action words. So like Simon says, jump, clap, sing, wave. And then as you're doing them, like you can use those ing verbs like, look, we are jumping. And as they're over, you can move into past tense verbs like, what did you do? I jumped. So they can get a variety of those different verbs while playing. And again, I had mentioned this in the other slide, you can play I Spy games to work on those articulation skills. Like I spy a red car. To work on those R sounds if that's what they're working on or whatever target you're working on. And then you can also work on increasing those categorization skills by finding items that fall into the different categories. So like find all the things that grow, the flowers, the grass, the trees, or find all of the animals that are in the yard. There's a squirrel, there's a dog, there's a rabbit. So those are all fun things you can work on while you're playing outside that will increase those speech and language skills. And then while reading a book together at home, you can work on labeling items and pictures or have the child point to items when named. So that's more for like our little kids, like the toddler age, just to increase that exposure to new vocabulary. So first you can just kind of talk about what you see, and then as they get more familiar with the vocabulary, have them point to it, like find the shoes or point to the duck. Again, you can work on discussing the actions that are going on, like what is the boy doing? And then have them respond with those ing verbs, he is jumping. And pronouns as well, as you're talking about the different characters, you can work on those masculine and feminine pronouns, he versus she, him versus her, his versus hers. And then asking those open-ended questions, so like the who, what, where, when, why, how, while reading aloud. And you can also work on making predictions or inferences as to what might happen next before turning the page. Like, oh, like for those very predictable books, like, I wonder what's going to happen next. What do you think is going to happen? Oh, and then you can even have them go further, like, okay, tell me why. What's the evidence? Like, what makes you think that's going to happen? What did they already tell us that made you come to that? For those older kids, that's a little bit higher level. You can discuss characters and compare and contrast with other characters from the story, and also work on outlining the main idea of stories as well as you're reading. And then you can work on story retell or sequencing the events in the order that they occur using that first and then language after you read the text. While on vacation, you can work on a variety of skills as well. So that sequencing that I had just mentioned and retell is great, like especially like when the trip is over, like when you're going home or like driving home, like, oh, let's recap, like what did we do? Or when they're telling someone, like, tell grandma all of the stuff that we did. So what did we do first? Well, first we checked into the hotel, and then we went to the beach, and then the next day we went to see dolphins, and then the day after that we went fishing, and so on. And then last we came home. You can also work on following directions while you're outside playing, or like at a hotel, like first jump in the pool, then pick up sand, then lay in the chair. That's just an example, but you can create it to whatever atmosphere or environment you're in. And then you can also use language concepts to describe different things within the environment. So like the water is wet, the sand is soft, it is hot outside. And you can compare and contrast your vacation area to home. Like, oh, this is so cool where we're visiting. What's different? Like what's different while we're here than when we're at home? Oh, we're by the ocean. Yeah, when we're home in Ohio, there's not a beach. Oh, it's hotter here than it is at home. And you can, while you're describing people, you can work on those pronouns and ing verbs again. So like the man is running, he is running, or she is swimming. At the zoo, it's a fun way to work on skills as well. So you can describe the different animals, like the color, the sizes, the different parts that they have, or what they can do. You can categorize animals, so like find all the reptiles, like these are all different reptiles in this house. Or, oh, we're gonna find all of the big cats, these are all cats. And then you can also compare and contrast, so discussing similarities and differences between the animals. And then as you go, like a lot of zoos have the little blurbs of like text and information. You can read the fun facts listed as you visit the animals, and then have your child recall the facts later on. Like, oh, what did we learn about hippos? So that they're actually comprehending the information, not just hearing it, like they're actually actively listening and comprehending what you're teaching them or telling them, and then remembering it for delayed recall. You can ask where questions while locating the animals in their various habitats, using like a location or a prepositional phrase, like where's the monkey? Oh, he's in the tree, or he's on top of the house. And then you can also use a variety of adjectives to describe the different animals they see. So like the hippo is dirty, or the giraffe has a long neck, just to embed some of those different adjectives and describing words. Or you could even have them describe them, like, oh, what would you say about the hippo? He's got mud all over him. Is he clean or dirty? And then at an amusement park, so we're very close to Kings Island, so I put this one in here because people might go there often, hopefully this year, when and if they're able to open. But you can describe the different rides using adjectives as well. So like those describing words, the roller coaster was fast, it was fun, it was bumpy. You could describe different emotions as with the different experiences. So like I was scared while walking through the haunted house, or I was excited to go on the roller coaster. You can create a scavenger hunt while following directions. So go find the carousel and then say hi to the employee who's working it. Those I Spy games, you can keep doing those for the articulation targets. So like while you're waiting in line, like I spy something red, where they have to work on that R sound or those S's. You can talk about what other people are doing while working on those pronouns and those verbs. She is crying, he is walking. You can work on the retell and sequencing, using those past tense verbs as you leave or later on during your trip. Like first we rode the roller coaster, then we ate at the restaurant, then we swam in the water park, and last we watched the fireworks. So just working on that sequencing, and then also making sure they're using the correct past tense verbs as well. And then If you're working on on social skills or question formulation, you can even have your kids go up and ask the employees questions like, how tall do I have to be to ride this? Or where can I find this? And make sure they're working on, that proper showing personal space, appropriate personal space, and then making sure they're making that eye contact, like some of that nonverbal communication that I've gone over in some of my other presentations as well. So those are just some strategies and different activities that you can think about when you're out in the environment to work on some of those speech and language skills. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@bigbluecanopy.com, or you can call us at 513-880-6800. Thanks for hanging out today.